Chapter 18. Mulla Nasruddin as a guest. Mulla Nasruddin was a wise man. He had been famous not only among Muslims but also among the non-Muslim world since 16th century. He was an educated man. His jokes were narrated for centuries among the people for different purposes, some for humor and some to tell us stories full of meaning and wisdom. One day, a wealthy man invited Mulla Nasruddin to a feast at his house. "I would be honored, Mulla Sahib," said he, "if you grace us with your presence tomorrow night." "I will come," agreed Mulla Nasruddin. Tomorrow night. The following night, he threw on his shabbiest and the most comfortable clothes. "It's a bit chilly," he said, and added an old black coat. The edges of its shirt sleeves were frayed. The holes in its elbows were patched with swatches torn from old flour sacks. On his feet, Mulla Nasruddin slipped a pair of ragged sandals. When darkness fell, he arrived at the rich man's doorstep. A servant opened the door. "What do you want, old man?" the servant demanded. "Your master has invited me to his feast," said Mulla Nasruddin. The servant squinted doubtfully at him. "Wait here," he said. "I'll be back in a moment." The servant went in. His whispers carried to the door. "An old beggar, O my master, says he's your guest." The wealthy man came to the courtyard to have a look. Seeing the old man in his ragged clothes, he waved a hand to the servant, then went back to join his elegant guests. The servant returned to the door. "My master does not know you," he said. "He invited me to his feast," insisted Mulla Nasruddin. The servant laughed. "Nonsense! Invited you? A shabby old beggar? My master's friends are noblemen and kings. Get back before I retort you." So, Mulla Nasruddin went home. After returning home, he changed his shabby clothes and wore the finest silk garments. He put his best cap on his head and added a handsome high-collared coat. He sprinkled rose water on his face and hands. He combed his beard properly. Smiling to himself, he made his way back to the rich man's house and knocked at the door. Once again, the servant opened it. Mulla Nasruddin said, "Your master has invited me to his feast." This time, the servant bowed respectfully and ushered him in. "Welcome, welcome, Mulla Sahib," the rich man said, and himself took him to his special seat at the feast. "At last, Mulla Sahib," said the guests. "We all have been waiting for you." All the guests reached the dining table. "Serve Mulla Nasruddin first," said the rich man. Nasruddin smiled at everyone. Then he got busy with his food, but he did not eat. "Hi, hi!" cried the guests. "Mulla Sahib, what are you doing?" cried the rich man. For Mulla Nasruddin had begun to tumble the soap over his best cap. He crumbled the bread and sprinkled the crumbs over the shoulders of his handsome high-collared coat. He took apart the seekh kebab and fed it lovingly to his sleeves. Mulla Sahib replied, "When I arrived in rags, you turned me away. Now that I am dressed in finery, you treat me with honor. Obviously, it is my clothes you are welcoming and not me. So it only means that my clothes should eat this delightful food you have prepared for them." The wealthy man hung his head in shame. He said, "Mulla Sahib, forgive me. I was blind. I saw only your clothes and could not recognize the wearer. I will never again judge people by their clothes or appearances."